Well, good morning. Woke up here last night. Literally slept here. It's 2 p.m. and I'm just getting out of the van for the first time. Mommy had a lot of work to do today, but look how beautiful. We are back at Mount Rainier, and guess what? Supposedly, it's not super snowy, so we're actually gonna get a hike in. I'm really excited. It's hot here today. This is the outfit. I'm bringing my hat, because why not? Look at that view. It's so pretty. And I'm finally wearing my hiking hat. It has like my grandmother's little hat pin and a squirrel tail that I found in Florida. So cute. Look at her. Wow. So crazy. Nothing like a little snow hiking in July. Look at that mountain. It's so nice actually because it's really hot up here. So it's really nice because there's like a nice breeze off the snow. So it's not the worst. I do feel like everyone's wearing a sun hoodie and I'm the only one wearing like booty shorts and a little tank top. Some guy was like, "Are you going to the top?" And I was like, "Do we have to wear a sun hoodie to go to the top?" It's a little crazy town. Hiking on a ledge. Good. This is what everybody's talking about. The wildflowers are beautiful. They're all down the edge. Look at this view. Literally insane. Insane. Oh, it's so nice and cold. It's like really hot up here. Panorama Point. I think we still have to go up a little bit. I always, when I'm sipping that thing, I have a hard time breathing, so I just like kind of suffocate a little bit. Look how cute. They all wrote their initials in the snow. I love that. I've been doing a lot of reflecting lately on how this summer has been different to every other summer of my life. I feel like I've overcome a lot of sadness and growth, not only emotionally, but also physically. I really learned how to push myself and go for hikes and take myself out in nature in a way that I never have before. And I find that as these days start getting shorter and the temperature starts dropping, I am panicking to just soak in every minute of summer that's left. I've had so much fun this summer and really been able to explore who I am and redefine who that girl is and what I want my days to look like and what I want my life to be like. And I'm just not ready to let summer go. So as I cling to these last few days and weeks of warm weather, I am just trying to soak up every moment, spend every moment I can outside, spend it with all the people that I love, swim until I can't stand the cold water temperatures anymore, and just keep building memories and making this one of the most explorative summers of my life. I've found so much healing in the outdoors this summer, and I am so grateful for all the lessons it taught me and how grateful I am to push my body. Good morning, you guys. Well, maybe it's not morning wherever you are, but it is morning here, and we slept in a rest area last night. I say we because I have a roommate. This is Murphy. Murphy is Alana's dog, and last night I picked him up at the house because she was in Seattle and we're gonna meet halfway in Skykomish and go for a big hike. So Murphy slept with me last night. We woke up every time a car pulled into the rest area. I actually was at a campsite last night in the woods and we kept hearing something around the car. I'm thinking now it was a raccoon, but I also think that there might be a mouse problem. So anytime we heard a little scratch in the van, he woke me up. I was scared. The reason why I think I have a mouse problem is because yesterday when I emptied my gray water tank, there was a dead mouse in it. I have no idea how long the mouse was in there for. I do know that my van has smelled weird, to put it lightly. So I'm kind of concerned about that. So then I was just paranoid that there were mice going through all my stuff. Last night I cleaned out the water tank, and then I went through all of my food, all of my cabinets, couldn't find any mouse poop. So that's like a key sign that maybe the mouse just like randomly got in. I don't really know, but it's not in my drinking water. It's in my gray water, which is like where my sink runoff is, and it has like an open lid on it. So the mouse just like climbed up the pipes and fell in, and I don't know when he fell in. And it was very sad and very disturbing, to be quite honest. So that didn't really set me up for a nice, easy, restful night's sleep. But yeah, we have like a 35-minute drive. We're gonna go to a coffee shop. I haven't had coffee today, but I tried Aura cacao. I'm trying cacao in the mornings. I switched from matcha. I just like wasn't vibing with matcha for right now for whatever reason. So I tried cacao for the first time ever this morning. I've had it at like ceremonial places, but I've never like had the ones that are made for you to make on your own in the morning, and it was pretty good. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. This is going to be the longest hike that I've ever done. So I'm a little stressed out by the fact that Murphy and I didn't sleep very well last night. I think it was just like a new environment for him, and he's not used to hearing all the noises. So anytime he heard a car or we heard the scratching, he was like wide awake, and that always kind of makes me scared. So that's kind of why we packed up and came to the rest area, because I just felt like at least if it was well lit, then I would feel safe. So we're gonna go meet Alana, and hopefully today's a really good day, and hopefully this hike is amazing and gorgeous and beautiful, and I can actually finish it. Here we go.
Oh, it's so fucking
What was that?
That was me locking my car.
Is this us?
This is us.
We're having a pistachio moment.
Pistachio. Everything.
Pistachio coffee. Okay, I got a pistachio latte, but it's white coffee. I've never heard of this before. We had to ask about it because we've seen signs everywhere for it. This looks like milk. Doesn't this look like milk?
Just don't make me.
Is there caffeine in that?
She said it's more caffeine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll drink it. But I'm not happy about it.
You've got a way about you today.
I think pistachio milk. Isn't that gross?
I don't hate it.
No. It's like a big cold glass of milk. Yuck.
Well, it was an accident.
The girls are girling.
We didn't mean to, but we did. Oh, the waterfall.
Where? Way up there. Wow.
Crazy.
That's so pretty.
That's such a cool waterfall.
I'm also really grateful for just being able to spend so much time with people that I love this summer. Typically, my travel routine always consisted of staying by myself and going out into the desert and just spending so much time alone. And I've really gotten to reconnect with a lot of my friends this summer and just deepen our relationships. I truly feel like I have been living in Washington for the last couple months. Even though I don't have a permanent residence, I feel like a huge part of my heart lives here. Combined with the beauty and all of my friends, it's just a place that I could potentially see myself settling down at some point. I just don't think I'm ready quite yet. After spending so many years keeping my home base on the East Coast and traveling for 2 months at a time and then going back to my apartment with my partner, I think I'm really just enjoying being able to wake up every morning and have a fresh day and a fresh start and to just decide where I want to go. I think that even though I really loved my time in Maine and I loved my house and I loved decorating and having a home base and living close to my mom, that my apartment in Maine honestly felt more of a burden to me because I don't think that my heart, even though I was born on the East Coast, lives on the East Coast. And I find that a lot of my adventures and soul connections happen on the West Coast. So even though I'm having a hard time closing that chapter, I do feel like I could really picture myself setting down my roots out here in the next couple of years. Good morning. It's the next day, and I just want to show you this magnificent campsite. I don't know if you can tell. There's the river. I'm assuming this is a campsite. It said like pack it in, pack it out, and there's a fire ring, and there were no camping songs. So I slept here last night. Went to bed at 9:45. Okay. That hike was actually the most challenging hike. Well, not the most challenging. I think the most challenging hike I've ever been on was Kolchak Lake, but that was the longest hike I've ever been on. I think, let me check the stats really quick. So we ended up hiking 8.9 miles. Previously, my record was 8.6 and an elevation gain of 2,520 feet. It took us 6.5 hours, but I think we sat at the top for like an hour and a half and we went swimming and it was really beautiful. But I will say I was so tired at the end, and Alana is a very serious hiker. Like, to put in perspective, she, upon discussing the trail afterwards, she wouldn't even really say that that was a hard hike. It's marked as hard on all trails. I was actually fucking dying for some parts of it, but she wouldn't classify that as a hard hike. And this is somebody who like does peaks once a week, pretty much. So that puts that in perspective. I was pretty slow going on the way up, but I'm really sore today. It feels really good. It was really hard. I think like when I'm hiking, a lot of emotions come up and a lot of them aren't good. I feel like I'm two different people when I hike up versus when I hike down, because on the way up is when all those challenging emotions come up, and on the way down is where you're just like, haha, I remember when I was standing right there like huffing and puffing and didn't think I was gonna make it, and now I'm like skipping and singing on the way down. So it's just really interesting what our bodies can do. And I can recognize that an almost 9-mile hike is insane. That is so hard. Like, I think it's so hard. So I don't want you to think that I don't think that that's hard. I think that's insane. I'm shocked that I could do something like that. I think that a 3-mile hike is like really hard for me. And I have been doing more like 6 miles, 8 miles like this summer, just because that's where all the pretty views are. To me, I'm just shocked that I'm able to do this. I've talked online a lot about how I don't really feel like I fit into the outdoorsy community and how I don't really feel like I'm an outdoorsy person. And I've gotten a lot of support by saying you just have to be outside to be an outdoorsy person. And that's so true. And I just want to tell you that if you do a 1-mile hike, that's amazing. That's so great. Like, that's so cool. You don't have to be doing 9-mile hikes in order to be an outdoorsy person, in order to be like a cool girl. I think that's crazy. I think that what I'm realizing, I have a lot of friends who live in outdoorsy spaces, and there's a lot of toxicity that comes with that. And I think that it can be really intimidating as a person who is not part of that culture to want to try new things. Like, climbing is something that a lot of my friends are very passionate about, and it's something that I am really nervous about. It's my goal to maybe try outdoor climbing again this year, but it's something that is probably on my fear list right now. Like, I just think it's really intimidating to be in that space, and especially when you get so many people that are so hardcore about climbing and so hardcore about hiking and things like that. And I think that if you get wrapped up in that, it's really hard to want to step out into the spaces. So I started going on these hikes by myself, because I found that when I was doing hikes with other people, and even yesterday doing that hike with Alana was very intimidating, because I know she's more experience than I am, and she's in better shape than I am, and I find it difficult when I have that comparison. Like, I'm like, oh, she's hiking so much faster than me, or I'm in front and I'm slowing her down. Like, that's constantly like the narrative that I have. So I think that that's actually why hiking by myself has been really healing, because arguably I have a better time when I'm hiking by myself because I don't have that anxiety feed loop happening in my head. And there's two different sides to that coin, because I know that a lot of people have been messaging me and being like, I'm too afraid to hike alone. Yes, that can be scary. And so that's what happened the other day when I turned around and quit on my hike. It wasn't really because it was too hard. It was because I got scared. And I think that if you want to get into hiking, if you want to get into solo hiking and you want to try it by yourself, kind of like I did, right? And just test the water and see what you're good at. Go on all trails. I don't know if you have to pay for it. I pay for it just because it allows you to download the maps so you can use them when you don't have phone service. And obviously to me, when I'm by myself, like, I need that. So I bought the All Trails app, but you can go on all trails and essentially you'll be able to find hikes within your ability. So if you want to do like a 2-mile hike or a 1-mile hike, you'll be able to find that on there. You can look at reviews to make sure that you'll be able to see like a nature spot, like a river or a waterfall, something that interests you. Find a busy trail. Literally find a busy trail. I found that even though a lot of people, I think, want to hike on a not busy trail and don't want to see people, sometimes when you don't see people and you're completely by yourself and you're just starting out hiking, that's terrifying. Absolutely so scary. I felt so much safer when I see people all the time, like frequently on a busy trail, at least when you're getting started, because then you know there are lots of people around. You're not going to be like stuck out in the middle of nowhere by yourself. You have confirmation that you're like on the right trail. So start off at busy trails. And granted, you might have to get there like earlier in the morning. Earlier in the morning is a lot better anyway, because you miss the heat and you find a parking spot. Because sometimes if you show up to trail at like 10 or 11 a.m. or even later in the afternoon, the parking spaces will all be gone, like if you're doing a busy trail. So that's my advice, is start out on busy trails, at least if your fear is like being in the woods alone. And obviously carry like things with you for protection. Bear spray's great, knives are great, whatever helps make you feel safe. But I find that just like being around a lot of people, because a lot of the times on those hiking trails, it's like groups of people, you know, like you'll see 2 women or a couple go by, or even like, you know, some hiking bros, whatever. But I find that just having people around makes me feel safe. So I think I'm going to stick to more frequented trails, you know, like when I hiked in a national park a couple weeks ago, it was very busy and I felt totally fine because it's like families and stuff like that. So national parks are a great way to get started because the trails are really well maintained. There's so many people. Again, like if you're just getting started, I think that makes me feel better to have people around, and then you can later branch out to not having people around. For me, like walking in the woods by myself and never seeing another human being is scary. So that's just my advice if you're just getting started on hiking or anything like that. But I'm feeling very proud of myself, super proud of myself. I'm gonna go sit by the river, drink my coffee, and try to have a chill day, because now I'm really sore, like extremely sore. Like I went to bed at 9:45 last night. So I need to have a little R&R day for sure. I'm just expressing so much gratitude for this summer and also welcoming the cozy vibes of fall. I have so many things coming up in the next few weeks that I'm really excited to bring you guys along for. I think we're about to dive a little bit deeper as I venture back to Maine to finally close up my house and move all my things into storage and accept this fate as a full-time traveler. As you guys know, in the 4 years that I have been doing kind of like this temporary nomadic living, I've always done 2 months on of travel and 2 months at home. And the past 4 months have been my first experience being full-time on the road, and I've loved every second of it, and it has truly taught me so much. And I'm just so grateful that you've been here with me for that ride.